Welcome back, guys. Something a bit different today. Today I'm going to teach you how to deadlift. Conventional, because that's the one that counts. Now, if you don't know me or you haven't followed my stuff for a while, I'm a 410 kilogram deadlifter, and I guess I want to show you how to get the most out of your deadlift. So I'm going to break it down to 3 parts, step by step, to make sure that you are staying injury free as much as possible and lifting the most amount of weight possible, because that's what fucking matters. So I hope you get something out of this. Let's get it, baby. Okay guys, part 1 of the deadlift. Now, before I go into this, I quickly just wanted to go over some equipment with you. Now, when I deadlift, I always wear sleeves on my shins, okay? This is not just to protect myself from cutting my shins, but also to make sure that I'm always deadlifting with that bar against my legs, okay? That's one thing you need to remember. It must stay as close to you as possible, okay? Now, step 1. First thing we're gonna think about is stance, okay? When we walk up to the barbell, how wide are we standing? Now, one of the biggest issues I see in general if I walk into a gym, even go on Instagram, is that most people stand too wide. Now, this is probably a product of watching the world's strongest men do their deadlifts. They're big guys, you know, they're like 6'8", 6'7", tall, 150 kilos plus. Now, they need to have a wider stance to get into position, okay? And also, a lot of the time they're wearing suits. Both of these things combined make it very difficult to get down to the barbell, hence why they have a wider stance. Now, if that is not you, I'll use me for an example. I'm 140 kilos, 6'3", pretty big human being, and I stand hip width with my stance, which is quite close, okay? Now, if you're someone who stands wider, maybe you need to reevaluate your stance. After I explain these things to you, I'm also gonna show you so you know what I mean. Now, once you have your stance, you're standing next to the barbell, we're nice and close. I like to think that the bar is somewhere over your midfoot, okay? So not so close that when you go down to pick it up, you push it away, but also that when you go down, you know, it's not too far away from you, okay? You still need it close. Now, our hand positioning is obviously dependent on our stance as well. We wanna make sure that our hands are only slightly outside of our stance, of our feet, okay, of our legs. Now, once we have our grip, with our stance, we're going to think about taking the slack out of the barbell. This is a very overlooked component of the lift and something that a lot of people could really benefit from. It definitely helps with injury prevention, and it also helps lift more weight, okay? So I'm going to go over that in a moment too. And finally, the first part of the deadlift, the setup, is completed with the brace, okay? The breath. We need to have the brace to lift a lot of weight, otherwise some bad shit's going to happen to you, okay? So we'll go over all these now and I'll demonstrate.
When we step up to the barbell, we want to make sure that our feet aren't too far apart. In my opinion, hip width is perfect, so make sure your feet are directly under your hips. And when we grab the barbell, make sure that you grab just outside of your legs so you still have room to push your knees through. Finally, take the slack, bend the bar as much as possible, knees slightly out, and push.
Okay, so step 1 is probably the complicated one, so that is why I've shown you exactly what to do now. Step 2 and 3, I'm going to show you while I deadlift, okay? I'll quickly break it down for you. I think of it as a push and a pull. So step 2 is push, step 3 is pull. Now, people think deadlifting is a pulling motion only. I disagree strongly. Off the floor, it is a push. When executed correctly, it's a push. It needs to be. We've got all these muscles, we may as well use our fucking quads too, right? So, step 2 is initiating the pull off the ground, or the push. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take the slack out of the bar. You got your brace. When you got your brace, we're thinking about pushing the ground away, pushing the earth away from you. Now what's important in this phase is that your shoulders and your hips come up together, okay? Shoulders and hips rising together. Once that barbell gets to your knees, this is where step 3 comes in, the pull. Our only goal now is to pull our hips through to the barbell and lock our knees, okay? So once that bar is passing your knees, I'm thinking to myself, lock your fucking knees and drive my hips through to the barbell, lock them, shoulders back, and that's a fucking deadlift, okay? So I'm gonna show you a few different reps now. I'm gonna show you exactly what to do, and you're gonna fucking replicate it. Good luck. guys, so that's how you deadlift. Now, something I'll add quickly is that if you see me deadlift, usually I tend to deadlift quite quick. Now, I don't think that you should be trying to move fast unless you have mastered the technique, okay? Always remember, technique before speed, okay? So when you're learning this or you're trying something new, don't think about hitting a PB, don't think about trying to move too fast. Simply break down the movements, execute it properly, film yourself, watch it back. That's how you become a better lifter, okay? Don't spend too much time near your maximal RPE, as in don't be lifting too heavy too often. We need to practice good technique, okay? Now, good technique you'll generally find if you're working around the 65 to 80% of your max range or RPE. For reps, for sets, we need to practice perfectly. Once you start going 90, 95%, technique starts slacking, and that's when you shit your back out. So, practice this, apply it, watch your deadlift grow. Till next time.